Hello everyone. In this video I will start to explain how we can prepare our Terraform code structure or architecture to design and implement each service requirement inside of our company. So actually this is init point to place where we can start, after analyzing all the structure of course, we can start to write our own wrapper like as in a style in TerraGrant or TerraSpace actually. So just look at the topology. Inside of each company we have a lot of resources. I mean, when we start to write some front-end or back-end application, each of them requires some internal infra components which we'll use inside of Kubernetes or in any place. But to create each of them, each time they comes to infra team to create task, could you please create this stuff for me? But we can actually automate all this stuff with Terraform itself too, and do that we must prepare, design how we can achieve that. So just imagine this is our topology which inside of our company we use like as backend. In my case I have used menu, we have Active Directory, at the same time Hashicorp Vault, PostgreSQL, Mongo, Keycloak, it doesn't matter actually. Per each company we can use tons of internal infra resources which each of the service will be required. So like a CI/CD, you can use any of them. In my case, it doesn't matter, but inside of topology, I will show you. Just imagine, per the requirement of the service, we will clone inside of workspace of the CI/CD repository with the name Terraform structured, where will be placed server and client stuff. I will explain each of them, of course. And if we create new service, microservice, I mean, it will clone inside of current workspace of the CI/CD to the terraform.t folder, this Terraform common modules, to override some variables to prepare all this stuff. So just imagine, on the fly, based on this some inputs, it's very small changes, we can create requirement for each of the service. So right now, just imagine our service name will be Airbyte. I will switch to the VS Code parts. We have account ID, it is just simulation. In my case, I have planned to prepare style like as this, each account so with the numbers 1, it is prod account. With the numbers 2, it is dev account. With the numbers 3, this is actually management account. Right now we will work inside of the prod account. And inside of prod account ID, we have environment with the name prod. Inside of environment prod we have region US East 1, but we can create a lot of regions actually, it doesn't matter. In my case I have defined name like as US East 1, and inside of region we must define team name, and inside of team we must define the service itself. So in my case service Airbyte, I named it like this, it doesn't matter actually. The second one will be superset, you can define as you wish. So inside of local TF we have input variables which we can, so important at least parts, these 5 variables. So what does it mean? Per each of the service we require team name, in which region it will be present, inside of which environment, but actually even this account ID is not important. In most cases inside of company and teams you can discuss, we use only specific account ID for the specific environment, and due to that it can be not important of course. But with a small change, what I meant, it is actually at least team and service name. So all this stuff configured inside of model, which I will show right now, which defines path to the Hashicorp Vault where will be stored credentials for the PostgreSQL MongoDB. I will explain of course each of them, and from where we will get credentials to communicate to the Hashicorp Vault for each of the service admin account. So just imagine, if our service require PostgreSQL, MongoDB, Cassandra, Keycloak, Active Directory group, OU, it doesn't matter. We must authenticate our providers to create resources which our service requires right now. And due to that, this path is engine path, where in the server part, actually inside of Terraform structured codes where I showed inside of draw.io, you can get all the server part which I pushed to GitHub repository. It's already created there. Right now important part to show design how it works, because In the next step, I plan to write our own TerraGrant or TerraSpace, as I said before. So we have main TF by default for the resource PostgreSQL, MongoDB, and Keycloak. If I will comment this part, it is configured inside of main TF to see, to get to download modules with the version 0.4.0 to override variables from the module. So if I will comment each of them, it means none of the resources will be created there, because by default inside of modules it is already boolean variable with a false value. So provider defined here, we don't use this one because I wrote some init to the scraper, which on the fly it will generate for us backend configuration where will be stored Terraform state. Even from output we can see how it will be generated. Of course I can delete both of these files and we will see how it will be generated. So this is main important part to the Terraform code. Variable with the name service token actually passed to the Hashicorp Vault, where created admin accounts per each of the service which each microservice can require. Service like as PostgreSQL, Mongo, of course our providers from Terraform must get superuser accounts per each of them to communicate and create new database for Mongo, PostgreSQL, Active Directory group, client ID, client secret inside of Keycloak too. So due to that, we must get Vault service token with which we can communicate to the Vault to get this service token actually have an access to read from some path and to write to some destination where per each microservice it's required. So I'm sorry, my Active Directory shut down. I will do up. If you will look to the draw wire again, we have Active Directory 2, which for the requirement of the service will be created group, which if we will see actually. So I showed provider, main TF, at the same time local TF. I will switch to the part where my backend will be stored inside of menu. We can see it is in a style. Even I can do Terraform tofu init, which will show us tofu if I will execute inv-init command. We can see on the fly generated state path where will be stored. It is inside of company, account ID, environment, region, team name, service name, and the service state file. So these variables actually for the menu, in my case, we can see is clear text, but it doesn't matter. If you will configure masked variable inside of your CI/CD, any CI/CD, you cannot get it to the out because it will be masked. In my case, it's environment variable. Due to that, you can see. But this command generates actually all this stuff to prepare path where will be stored state itself. So our state will be stored inside of this file, path inside of menu actually. So inside of Vault, as I showed before, I have enabled path inside of VSS1 where will be stored account ID, environment, region. Inside of region will be stored infra. So the stuff which we see right now, it's actually resource itself inside of our company, credentials per each of them. So Active Directory credentials, Keycloak, MongoDB, PostgreSQL credentials stored inside of this path, and token itself stored inside of these services which generated Terraform before. And when we create new service path will be stored inside of ERCs and infra. And inside of services will be created per each of the team, service, and inside of this service, the credentials which created and stored inside of this path. So if we define booleans, I want for my service with the name Airbyte, Active Directory, at the same time PostgreSQL, at the same time MongoDB, at the same time Keycloak client ID with a secret, on the fly will be generated on the specific realm client ID secret and will be stored inside of Keycloak key. it's empty right now because I've created this before. Pass exists, but value is not present. It will be generated, of course, I will show. At the same time for Mongo, username, password, and DB, at the same time for PostgreSQL, all this stuff will be stored here. And if I will switch to the Active Directory part, even Keycloak, we can see under services realm right now we don't have any service with the name. Style will be like as team minus service name. So we must see here service with the name dvh minus airbyte. Right now it's not present and we cannot find it here. Even inside of Active Directory, if it is already started. So sorry, the power of my laptop is not so huge. To not spend time, I can show, I think we can show from here. Yeah, I will switch to the part if it's in it. Tofu plan. We can see no change. It's because, as I said before, Boolean variables disabled for model by default, and due to that, if we want to enable services, we must uncomment them. So we can see 14 resources will be created. If I will do tofu apply, and I want to show you actual groups which right now is not present under OU of the company. We can see there is no group with the name dvh minus airbyte, but if I will do tofu apply, and switch to the pass, we can see our state will be stored inside of bucket with the name company tf states, inside of company folder, account ID, env, region, team, service name, and inside of service name, service tf state, which it's generated on the fly, which I showed before. And inside of Active Directory, if I will do refresh, dvh airbyte created. Inside of Keycloak, if I will do refresh, dvh airbyte created. And inside of Vault, if I will click Keycloak, client ID, client secret present here, MongoDB credentials came here. At the same time, PostgreSQL credentials came here. For just to be sure, we can communicate at least for Mongo, and so the style of the each database which Terraform codes will be generated, it will be like as env underline team underline service underline role for the username, env underline team underline service underline db, it is db name actually, and password, which we must get from here. So we can see it works. At the same time, we can communicate to the MongoDB. The same style like as in a case PostgreSQL, env team service underline user, but password we must get from Mongo because it's old one. And DB is the same style which I said before. So as we see, it works too. So just imagine right now our service with the name Airbyte already got all required components which development team will start to write their code. So the second time I mean we can even right now implement with a small change another service, and I will show how it works. We can copy only Terraform code files to another folder and close these Terraform code files, open locals. If I will switch to the state pass inside of menu. We can see inside of DVH we have only one service state with the name Airbyte. At the same time, we don't have any client with the name DVH minus superset. And at the same time, inside of DVH pass, we don't have, even I can do refresh of the page. Of course, I need to do login again. We don't have any service with the name superset2. And inside of Active Directory, we don't have any group with the name superset2. Small change, I meant just look at this part. I copied Terraform code files to the superset folder. I will change only the Airbyte to the superset. So just imagine, it's because superset member of the team with the name DVH. And with that, if I will switch to the superset folder and do again init, on the fly will be generated path to the state as we see, like as this. And after that, if I will do, of course it must be finished. Tofu apply. Fourth resource will be created because inside of main module we can see I have activated 4 of them. I mean PostgreSQL, so just imagine superset service requires PostgreSQL database and requires their credentials, MongoDB, Keycloak and Active Directory group at the same time. So if I will write yes, I think it is created. We can see the group with the name DVH Airbyte created here. At the same time, we can switch to the path. I will do refresh this page again. We can see superset, path for services which required service with the name superset, Keycloak, MongoDB, PostgreSQL. At the same time, state path to the superset. At the same time, client superset which is already created. So actually that's it. In the next step I will create, as I said before, our own TerraGrant or TerraSpace like as a wrapper which on the fly will generate all these Terraform code files on the fly. So I mean by the input and selection boxes for the required fields, I mean at least I think we require environment, region, team name, service name to prepare on the fly. Of course, we can define which service requires our service. I mean, for example, the next time you can create new service with the name AirLab, which AirLab require PostgreSQL and Keycloak, no MongoDB and no Active Directory. And due to that, with a selection box from input, we must check with the checkbox get this, and on the fly generate main TF input which will store these booleans, and based on that will be generated Terraform code files, and which after that we can apply them. So that's it. Thank you for watching.